di acqua, i lavatoi e le fontane, testimonianza della vita passata e presente, di cui la frazione Acquavena è l'emblema. Il patrimonio religioso, che oltre alla presenza della spiritualità è caratterizzato dalla presenza di cappelle gentilizie e di chiese. Roccagloriosa è un luogo ricco di cultura e di umanità dove poter trascorrere con serenità dei giorni unici e indimenticabili, come se fosse un tuffo nel passato. Vi aspettiamo a Roccagloriosa e, come dice il nostro slogan, Roccagloriosa, un luogo dalla storia millenaria, ma per davvero.
Italy has always been known for its heritage of ancient villages made of stones, telling about centuries of history and civilization, making it a fascinating destination for cultural weekends. Roccagloriosa is one of the most ancient medieval settlements of the Lower Cilento, a mountainous sub-region of the outback of Campania. The town is set in a valley and crossed by the Mingardo and the Busento rivers. The latter lies at the back of Mount Bulgaria. Roccagloriosa is built on the ridge of Mount of Capitenali. It is part of the National Park of Cilento and Vallo di Diano and has been recognized by UNESCO as part of our shared world heritage. The land of Cilento is an evergreen land, sometimes harsh and yet always breathtakingly beautiful. Its high mountains are crossed by rivers and streams. Amidst this various landscape, you find the Roccagloriosa, standing on a rocky spur 550 meters above sea level. A small diamond set in a necklace of treasures, full of landscape, historical, architectural and cultural beauties. Peoples who settled there and lived on the surrounding lands had an important role in the history of this place. They were Italics, Greeks, Romans, Longobards, Normans and Slavs. Together with the so-called hamlet of Acquavena, because of the several small freshwater springs that are still used today to irrigate the lands, the village covers a 42 square kilometers surface area of the National Park of Cilento. Because of its strategic position, which dominates the valleys, it gives a suggestive panoramic view on the Gulf of Policastro. On Mount Bulgaria, up to Palinurosi and to the Cervati peaks. Thanks to many routes skillfully created and upgraded by the local government, you can discover a territory that men marked, made sacred and made their own. A cultural landscape where nature and man found the balance of reciprocal belonging. According to the popular tradition, the town's name comes from the Latin mixture of rocca, rock, and gloriosa, glorious. On one hand, the name points to its defensive function. Basically, the village is built on a hill around the remains of a medieval castle, from where it's possible to dominate the whole territory. On the other hand, the town's name signifies its intense devotion to the glorious Virgin Mother of God. Roccagloriosa is the perfect place where to go on a journey through time, or on a discovery trip through the millenary history of the hinterland of Cilento. The village is, as a matter of fact, one of the most ancient and important settlements of the Lower Cilento. The habitual tours to this territory are supposed to date back to the 2nd century BC, as many fragments of ceramic from the Bronze Age, both found on the slopes of the castle and on the top of the hill called the Lecchiaie, give evidence for. The village has several characteristics attributed to the Iron Age. This is a relevant evidence that the so-called Lucans had been inhabiting those lands since 6th, 5th centuries BC. The town, however, reached its full development during the 4th century BC. Several archaeological findings are attributed to this period. A statute written in Osca language, as well as 22 tombs and city walls separating the built-up area from the necropolis. These findings tell about the presence of an organized society and show how those inhabitants used to live according to civil and structured rules. And they also are the only surviving testimony of a stable Osco-Lucan settlement. Today on permanent display in the Museum of Piazza del Popolo in Borgo Sant'Antonio are some of the extraordinary archaeological finds. The pieces found in the tombs 19 and 24 can be seen in the Museum of Piazza del Popolo, while the other one exhibits the precious golden grave goods that belong to Princess Fistelia. An upper-class woman of the age and the bronze kit of a knight. Other items of the exhibition come from a site in the Pianoro Centrale. Around 500 BC, local inhabitants, together with Bulgarian soldiers who had settled in the area, gave birth to Acquavena, Rocchetta, and the nearby village of Celle di Bulgaria. Another step in the history of the area is on 13th century, when Ruggero da Polla and after him Matteo Mansella were named lords of the manor of Roccagloriosa. In the Middle Ages, it was built a castle, with imposing city walls running all around the built-up area. A chapel with the name of Glorious Mother of God was built in the castle and dedicated to Virgin Mary. Rocca was thereafter named Roccagloriosa. The old center of today's Roccagloriosa still has winding roads and steep stone stairs. Basements of the buildings are digged into natural rocks, and you can see the landscape from every part of the village. In every corner of this place, you can feel the echo of the centuries gone by. The village is built on 2 levels. In the downhill area, there are modern buildings and shops. The historic center is set on the upper part, along the ridge. The old village is a labyrinth of narrow alleys and fascinating lanes, offering unique views. Arcades, panoramic small piazzas, arches, they were all part of a perfect medieval project aimed at defending. The winding alleys were in fact meant to break the force of the wind. The remarkable ruins of castle in the beautiful medieval center overlook the built-up area and the two old churches of St. John Baptist and the Holy Rosary, where they worship the stone and lime statue of Saint Mary la Greca, mark of the old habit in the Byzantine Rite. The built-up area is characterized by original architectural elements and fine sculpted portals, mark of the famous feudal figures living in the baronial and noble buildings of the village. These buildings were often connected to private churches and chapels and are still well preserved. Starting from Piazza del Popolo, there is a breathtaking terrace facing the Policastro Gulf and the majestic Mount Bulgaria. Then a street climbs in the middle of the town, passing by the portals of Casa Saia, Casa Guida, and the old Palazzo de Caro. Further on, one comes to the Curtis Palace, an aristocratic residence overpowering on the other buildings, an 18th century building where, according to the local people, Prince of Laughter, Totò, had been conceived. According to popular belief, the great Neapolitan artist is the illegitimate son of the Marquis de Curtis and the local waitress named Maria Marotta. In the center of the village, you should not fail to visit La Quercia Palace. It was built during the second half of the 15th century as a monastery. Then it was converted into an aristocratic building and used as a residence of Count Andrea Carafa della Spina. Part of the figurative culture of Lucania, in this building you may admire an important fresco which depicts a battle scene. You may end your tour by visiting the portals of Falco's house, of Papafico Palace, of Perilli's house, of Prota Palace, and Cavaliere Palace. And admire the Balbi Palace and portal, with its precious and fine porter, a clear mark of the style and the exquisite taste of the peoples who inhabited Roccagloriosa. There is a fountain dating back to 1893 called Tre Cannoli in the entrance to the old center of Roccagloriosa. This fountain is connected to the underlying public fontanelle washing throws through an underground long canal and a cistern. The several springs, fountains, washing throws and drinking throws of Roccagloriosa are the ancient mark of a country life. leaving the center towards the Mingardo River and